Hi y'all. I just recorded a whole bunch of rambly stuff and found out that I had accidentally left my microphone unplugged. So I'm gonna do it again because I love you that much. Or just because that was really horrible and I can't deal with it anymore. So here's what I'm gonna do. I've got some tea, I've got some coffee, I got a lozenge, but I had to finish that up before I hit record because who wants to hear that? Here's what's going on. I have been relocking all of this fresh and free Afro Z up here because it's coming loose, it's going everywhere, and the place it's supposed to be is neatly locked into these thingies, but it's not. So I have very, very slim ones on the side, and one day after washing my hair and popping them so that they re-separate, I noticed that because they're so slim and because there's now so much of them just out there in the wild, it's starting to look like the lock portion is naturally growing off. And I don't want it to naturally grow off. As it gets thinner and thinner up here, I feel like it was going to just keep locking slimmer and slimmer and eventually just grow into free hair and the lock would fall off at some point and I wouldn't have noticed because I was so busy with years going by, not having the time to take care of myself in these ways properly. It takes a long time to do this stuff. So as I mentioned in part 1 of my self-care video, which is already up, this is part 2. It has been since maybe the beginning of 2020 or possibly the end of 2019 since I've had the time to sit down and do this all over my head properly. I also mentioned that I already got the back done, and that was a trial for me because it took many days and a lot of time, and I got to the front and thought I just couldn't. I've ended up washing my hair twice since then. The last time took place in the timing of the filming of that last video, and I just thought maybe if I sit down and film it and do a lock and chat with me, I will be able to enjoy the process, and so far I am. So I'm going to take another moment and I'm going to very delicately separate these hairs that I missed from earlier, because now some of them are going into the wrong locks. So I can feel this just hurts. Inches of it will go into the wrong lock before I know it. So what I'm doing is, when I started my locks, I did them on kind of a grid pattern. Not to keep them that way, not to keep sharp lines over time. I just needed to separate them in some way. And that's what I was accustomed to. So I did basically square grids everywhere. Tried to keep them symmetrical on both sides of my head because it just brought me joy. So what I do is I make sure, generally right after I have towel dried my hair and maybe given it a little while just to get a little drier, but it's still damp, I go through and I separate. I pop my locks. I go in this direction. I do this so that they are now separate because those hairs, they connect, y'all. And then I go back in the other direction this way and I do the same thing. Well, pretend there's another row. I do that. So I've already done that. Now that I'm sitting here, I just push my finger across this area where I should be feeling scalp. And if I feel scalp and I don't feel any tension from hairs that are, let's say, coming from here and have locked into there or vice versa, then if I don't feel any tension or any hairs in the wrong location, I know I've kind of got it separated. So now what's in my hair is going to be the lock and a bunch of hair I'm going to work into it. Now this is just my method. I've never seen anybody else do it this way, but this is what I do to get it done quickly. I started my locks with 2-strand twists, and the way I relock the loose hair in is to just grab it, kind of grab it from around here. I'm just pulling so I can get the loose hairs into my hand, and then I simply twist it around. So this is what I'm going to be doing all over my head. I twist it around. Now for me, simply twisting it is not going to be enough. I'm going to have to attach it in some way or else it will come loose. I've tried to just twist it and hope it would lock. I knew it wouldn't work. It didn't work. So once I get it twisted to a point where I have maybe 3 or 4 inches that I can still work with, then I come in with a hook. I'm going to see if I can show this. I will go in with the hook. On the side, I grab just a little tiny bit of hair, enough that I can do this. I reach through, grab the hair, and then I pull it through. The loose hair gets pulled through that loop where I just stuck the hook. Without letting go of the hair, I push the hook through, and then I grab that hair one more time. Then I pull it all the way through. This creates a nice solid knot. I now know that that hair is not going to come loose, and once it's knotted, I will just take that remainder. I slide the hook through the lock and push it out near where I tied that knot. So I'm going to grab the rest of that hair and hook it on that latch and just pull it all the way through. I do this with everything at the root. When I have some extra bits of hair on the side like this, I do not tend to tie the knot. I will just grab the hair. Oh wow, where is that really coming from? It's up high. I just grab the hair and I will simply push the hook through a good length of the lock, bring it out near where the hair is, and then I will grab the hair with that hook and just slide it right in. I only tie the knot for the huge amounts of loose hair at the root because I know that's apt to come loose. I mean, if I don't do that, the next time I wash it, every single time without fail, I'm going to end up with that part where I go through and pop my locks. It's going to just completely separate. All of the loose hair will grab on. It'll semi-lock to itself and unlock from the hard lock, the full lock, the intended lock, and it'll just become loose afro at my root again. So I have to tie that knot there, but with the rest of it, it really just works to pull it right through because nothing's really going to grab onto it all the way down here. So it's pretty easy to simply grab the hair and just pull it straight through the lock. So that's what I'm going to be doing while I'm sitting here talking. And while I'm sitting here talking, I'm going to update on a handful of things. What I have been up to is a lot. I have started a Ko-fi.com page. So that is Ko-fi.com/Aviana Lemaire, spelled just the way it is here on my YouTube station. And the reason that I went with Ko-fi instead of Patreon is because Patreon seems to require a few pounds of flesh in the form of extra content. Now, I am doing what I can in my life to get good quality, increasing quality content on this station. And there's a lot of other stuff going on. I'd love to be able to do something like this, to do creative things like this all of the time and make my life in a way that I really adore, where I'm enjoying what I'm doing. However, at the moment, I can't fully drop everything and work exclusively on this. I have taken up a couple of other side projects that will be social media based, and that's taking up such a huge amount of my time that I've had to figure out how to give myself a little autism care rest state, because since I'm recently learning how to take care of myself and work with my brain, I am discovering a million brand new ways to get burnt out, and I am trying really hard to discover that one magical way not to, and I have not discovered that recently. So I'm taking care of myself. When I was considering it, I was thinking, how am I going to do something on Patreon? All it did was stress me out because it feels to me kind of like another YouTube with all the work and all the ideas and all the editing. However, it's just a copy and paste for me, where I'm going to end up now doing YouTube twice, basically. And keeping on top of it in one place is enough of a challenge for me to add to my life. So Ko-fi seems to be a lot breezier about what they require and what you can do. You can choose how much work you need to put into it in order to do it, how many different tiers you implement as far as subscribers. Ko-fi seems to eliminate a lot of the necessity to do a certain amount of things in a certain time frame. And that's what I need right now, is more freedom to take days off to rest. I'm in the midst of taking days off to rest because I did too much and I'm paying right now. So it just makes it a lot easier for me. I really like the theme of buy me a coffee. I'm very much about the concept of having a little coffee clatch. I wanted this to be a station that would have that relaxing feeling of sitting down and just doing things, just doing little things in life, having a little chat, something very relaxing. I need to go do the little parts off to the side, and I really want to make sure I pay a good amount of attention to it because my hair is very fine. I guess I'll do this one in the back that's a little bit thicker than all the rest of them. It feels a little bit thicker at the root. Maybe it's not, but I'll do that. And I can pay attention to it and talk at the same time. How am I going to move my arm? So creating content on Ko-fi, I guess I'm going with the theme of showing a little bit more personal information. And I got very personal for me. My old computer was really a workhorse. I still have it. It's a gateway. I ran diagnostics on it recently because Windows informed me that it did not meet the requirements for the Windows 11 update. So there's a program, a Windows program that you download and run it. And I ran it and it said it was 11 years old. Now I wasn't really certain before. I've been saying it's about a decade old for approximately 3 years. So I knew that. Maybe 3 or 4 years. I knew it was around that time frame, but I wasn't really counting. It wasn't my PC to begin with. Originally it was a family PC. It was, I guess they call it a business PC. It had integrated graphics. I spent years trying to figure out what the graphics card was, and I didn't know about, I knew about it, but I didn't know what it was or what it meant. I didn't understand the concept of integrated graphics. Anytime I've been researching things like that, no one really, I'm following people who are kind of tech heads and they know all of this stuff and they collect all these things and they build their own gear on a regular basis. And none of them, I guess, are really the people to sit down and do 15 million videos on a PC that's got integrated graphics. So I wasn't learning about that. And then I find out that this is why I couldn't ever find the information on my PC. Anyway, still learning. This PC did serious work for me for many, many years. It was a love-hate relationship because it was never really what I needed, but I don't know how many people can relate. Before I had it, I had nothing. I'd had one PC beforehand that I had access to, another family PC. It was a little netbook. And that was shared with everybody, and it got to a point where I couldn't really get access to it. So when the gateway was given to me, I didn't feel good about it. I felt kind of like I was taking something away from somebody who needed it, but it was pretty forcefully given to me. And I've just been grateful that I had a PC, because then I was able to do whatever I was able to do for myself in my life, ways that I've been able to bring in income, new projects I wanted to start up, like finally posting to YouTube. It all took place on that PC. On my Ko-fi.com page, I started to introduce some information about the state of that PC in order to share some of what it's been like for me to edit. Well, that's extremely personal for me. I'm getting out from under this sort of cloud of externally imposed shame that sometimes a person can have about things that really aren't shameful. And so I'm sharing information about this PC on Ko-fi, and I wrote a little bit and I filmed some video. I haven't edited it yet, and it's not up yet, but I do intend to put it up to show what my experience was like editing on that PC, because I think it's worth seeing. And frankly, I would like people to know, anyone who really cares and wants to see it, I would love for you to be able to see what I've been going through in order to edit my videos, because what I'm going to show in that video on my Ko-fi page is going to be what I was seeing all the time with that software. And it would vary. Sometimes it would get much better, and sometimes it would get much worse. But I'm going to show a good taste, and I'm going to show that there. The reason why it's a very interesting update is because now someone very, very lovingly gifted me a new PC. And it's been amazing. It's changed the world for me in so many ways. I feel oddly Like, I traded out a large handful of glitches on the old gateway for a small pocket of weird glitches on the new PC, which has got me thinking I need to switch up my editing software. I have been using VSDC, free video editing software. It's openware. I'm now trying something called Shotcut, and I have not used it to edit yet because I haven't had time to learn it, and I don't want to rely on a brand new program to get my videos up. But that is what I intend to test, hopefully over the next few weeks. On this new PC, it seems like all of the other issues went away, except now. I need a moment of tea. Now, for whatever reason, the video and audio are not synced. I am profoundly grateful to have a much better editing situation. That said, there's something shocking to me about how difficult it is to cut a video, even when I'm looking at my face. With the other PC, I could look at my face and my mouth as I was editing to tell where I should be able to cut something when I couldn't hear it synced. This is so far unsynced that I can't look at my mouth and I can't listen to it because I hit it right on cue, whether it's visual or audio cue. I hit pause. When I hit play, no matter what, it's always in the wrong spot. I can't cut it that way. So I'm having to it's like playing a video game with a huge amount of lag, where you're learning to play the game, but you're really learning to manipulate the lag itself. This particular issue is so shocking to me to witness and to attempt to maneuver that I find it more difficult editing my videos now than I found it on the gateway. And perhaps that's because this is just such a brand new set of issues. I have no idea how to deal with it, but it's throwing me hard. So I'm trying different software, and I'm hoping that it's going to work out, because I'm going to do more research, but I really don't know how to deal with this particular problem. It's horrible. On the upside, I have gotten to where exporting a 15 to 20 minute video no longer takes. I can't believe this now. Now I know this is going to sound really insane. On the gateway, exporting a 15 to 20 minute video would take 3 to 4 hours or more. On this PC, which is a Lenovo Legion 5, and I'll talk more about that later, it takes approximately 15 minutes or less to export that same length of video. When I found that out, I had a very emotional moment, and it was not a good feeling emotional moment. A lot has happened in my life, and I value my time. I value time, and it was not a good emotional moment. However, I choose to walk away from it when I'm able, thinking about how glad I am that that old experience is over. This is a massive improvement. I pulled that through the wrong way. This is a massive improvement to my quality of life, and so I'm focusing on that positive feeling. This PC is an editing PC, and an editing PC is exactly what I have been needing. It's what I was wanting, and the fact that someone has gifted me with one has changed my world, because I was really going through it, trying to get what I was trying to get. I was planning on doing what it took to work my way into a Lenovo Legion 7, and this is basically one step below that. Obviously, you can choose your specs, so as far as specs go, it's multiple steps in different ways, but it also shows in the price, which I think is a great thing for everyone involved. This gave me freedom from the massive wall of stress I was experiencing trying to get that Legion 7. Like I said, the PC I had before was a gateway, integrated graphics. It was a family laptop. When I received it, it was barely working. It would freeze like crazy. I've literally been working on it for years to keep it functioning. And that started when it was basically brand new. But everyone had used it, everyone had downloaded everything. I hadn't been in control like I would be with my own personal computer. That was my first computer for me. This is the first time I've ever had a PC that was bought for me, is entirely mine, where I'm the person using it and controlling it, deciding what goes into it and what does not, taking care of it, implementing security features, and using it in the way that exclusively I would use it. And it's a, it's a wonderful experience. But what the last one taught me, the gateway taught me that it's very possible for me to have a PC for about a decade and for it to sort of be run down into the ground, used for everything, until it's about to break, and until I'm afraid every time I use it that it's not going to boot up, and until I'm getting black screens regularly and things of that nature. I was going to try to get as souped up a version of the Legion 7 as I could, thinking to myself, I don't know what's coming in life, and I don't want to put bad vibes out there on this subject, but I was having this sensation that it's possible that my next PC might also be a decade out of date by the time I could replace it. So I wanted to get enough things, enough power in it, that if I was never really able to upgrade it, either the components or just the PC itself, it would still be working hard for me for many years to come. Long story short, the process of trying to deal with that, the prices of components going crazy over the past couple of years, just dealing with getting the funds together to do it, trying to figure out what I could get that they were offering in components versus what would be very unwise for me to even attempt to purchase. It stressed me out so badly. It was very much affecting my life for a while. So I decided I'm going to focus on some positive things. I delved into more YouTube research. I started playing more video games. I discovered Stardew Valley, and that has brought me a huge amount of joy, and I will talk more about that soon in a moment in this video. While I was feeling good vibes, then this situation came around where someone offered me a new PC. And it wasn't the Legion 7, but it was a Legion 5. And the fact that it's that close, so very close to what I was going to try to buy for myself, I just think of this as a sign. I cannot begin to explain to you the difference it's made in my life having this PC. It boots in seconds. I can open up software in seconds. When I click on something, it responds. None of these things were the case with my previous PC. I would be waiting for something like a text file to open up for so long that I would start to wonder, did I click? Did I misclick? What's happening? Then I click again. Before I knew it, 2 or 3 copies of the file would open up, and I would know, okay, I guess I did click on it after all. But that would take a minute. It took forever to save things. Explorer was crashing all the time. Accessing files was a nightmare, and I was backing it up extremely regularly because I didn't know when it was going to boot or not. I didn't know when the black screens were coming. It was bad. This is good. This new PC is beautiful. And it's allowing me to even get into more gaming because now I can run computer games again. I used to play things like The Sims 3 or Star Trek Online, and I could no longer play Star Trek Online on my old PC. It just would go to a black screen and remain a black screen indefinitely until I would do something like forcing a shutdown. I missed a year of that game, and it's an MMORPG. It's not like I can just tuck it off to the side on a disc and decide I'm not going to play this for 25 years and then I can dust it off and bring it back out. I missed that time and I can't get it back. It was a wonderful part of my life, but now I've got it back on this new PC. This is connected with another one of my new projects. Well, I am totally outdone. I have been recording without my microphone for a long time. I have to unplug the microphone from the phone in order to listen to my recordings. And so I unplugged it during testing, and I think I recorded all of this without the mic because I forgot to put it back in. Until all of a sudden I heard it click, click, clattering against the side of the tripod. I'm totally outdone. I might just take a lozenge and Stardew Valley break so that I can breathe and figure out what to do or say next. I might need to re-record the whole video. I was kind of rambling anyway. So I'm going to play Stardew Valley to calm myself because for whatever reason, maybe because it's been so long, I'm just feeling nervous recording this video. I truly do not know why. Sometimes when I start hitting record, I do just magically get nervous, and I don't actually know why because I enjoy doing this, and generally once it gets going, I'm fine. However, a lot of the time, I get nervous before I do something, no matter what it is, when it involves someone else perhaps seeing me do it. And this is YouTube. So my hope is that it will involve somebody else perhaps seeing me do it. So yeah, there's that. It's rather intense, darling. See, I'm already basically streaming without streaming, so why wouldn't I be streaming? So, jeez. We're back with more hair straightening from the Empress of Alvi, the Empress of Things. Multiple things, darling. That's why it's Empress and not Queen.